Welcome to the Confessions of a Christian Single Woman, where you will be empowered to propel in all aspects of your purpose and no sister is left behind. Sit back and relax, grab your journal and pen, pour you a cup of coffee or tea, and go on this journey to self-discovery and growth in the Lord. Hello, Purpose Propellers. Welcome back, and I am glad you are tuning in today. We have an interesting topic today. So we're still in our series entitled Navigating Singleness, Living This Season with Intention, where we are talking about the joys, the challenges, and the purpose of being single from a Christian perspective, utilizing the Bible to prove the case, okay? And so last week we talked about how to show up in our relationships authentically. And I thought that that was a really good episode because we want to make sure that when we do get into relationships that we are showing up as our authentic selves and not our representatives. Amen. Okay. So today we'll be talking about family and culture expectations when it comes to relationships. Family and culture expectations. So family and cultural expectations, I think, can significantly impact our choices, our values, and sense of identity too as well. These expectations are often deeply rooted in traditions and societal norms, and then in the desire to maintain family unity or cultural heritage. You know, if you're from a different culture and your culture is heavy on traditions, that's going to impact you. So it's essential to figure out how you recognize and understand these particular expectations and then how to navigate them effectively. And so it is also imperative that you are self-aware, which we talked about last episode, right? And that you're introspective. We also talked about that last episode as well, regarding how you personally feel about these expectations. So basically, this is in the context of if you are thinking about pursuing a relationship with someone who is of a different culture. Okay, so of course we know that different cultures do have various ways in which they handle the subject of marriage. In some cultures, you can get married whenever you want, as long as you are of age. Another country may be heavy on matchmaking, while another one may be focused on arranged marriages. So, matchmaking is like, oh, you can kind of choose, and see, you can go out on a couple dates and see if you like this person. But then another culture may be like, no, we're just going to arrange a marriage for you. And this is your wedding day. And you're just going to show up and marry the person and you don't even know them. Right. So it's our responsibility to kind of understand. Well, it is our responsibility to not just but to fully understand someone else's culture and then decide how you may want to enter that particular union. And so some of you may be more traditional and go along with what your specific culture does, while others may want to go against their culture and do their own thing, their own way, So you also never know about your future spouse and their culture, because if they are of a different culture, then you may have to conform to their ways if they are more traditional. So that's something that we talked about, that difference between suitability and compatibility. That's where that suitability will come into play. Like, which culture are you going to abide by? Is he going to join and do the things of your culture? Or are you, as the woman, going to join and do the things of his culture? And then do you even agree with what his culture does? So these are things that we're going to have to talk about, right? So let's talk about some strategies for navigating this particular situation. So if you're in this type of situation, or if you are thinking about being in this type of situation, let's talk about a few things you could possibly do in order to navigate it. So of course there's a lot. I'm only going to give you a few. So we'll see where we land. Okay. So number one, reiterating self-reflection and understanding. Okay. So you have to take that time out to know your own values, your own aspirations, your own desires. You have to know your own culture and understanding what you truly want in order to help you navigate conflicting expectations from your family and culture. Because if you are getting with someone and you are deciding to forego your culture's traditions in order to go with them, your family may have some things to say about that, right? So you're going to have to decide if this is something that you really want to do, and how will you explain that to your family. At the same time, of course, never forgetting to include God and making sure to ask him, is this something that I should be joining myself to? You know, ask him to make his desires for you in regards to this relationship your desires, you know, making sure that his goals are your goals and his aspirations are your aspirations, because he won't steer you wrong when it comes to the relationship. And so if this is a relationship that he has sanctioned, then you have to let him walk you through how to navigate it. But one of the first ways to navigate it is knowing what you're going to do. So if you're like, okay, Lord, he has this particular culture, I have this particular culture, these are the expectations of both cultures. What are the pros and cons? If I was to join his culture, knowing my own values and my belief system, and knowing my own goals and my aspirations, does that line up with his culture? Or will I feel like I'm compromising who I am to join his culture? You know, so you may have to weigh those things out. Remember that Proverbs 3:5 says to trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. So in this regards, you and your significant other are going to have lots of conversations about, you know, your own goals and dreams and aspirations and things and how that aligns with one another. And then you're going to have to not lean on just your own understanding, but lean on God's understanding regarding the situation. And just say, okay, Lord, you know, I'm in this relationship. We have these different cultures. Here are my values and beliefs. Here are his values and beliefs. Can you show me, is this a relationship that I should continue based on these cultural expectations? Or should I rethink this? Or should I get out? Right? And just allow God to kind of navigate that relationship between the two of you. And then you can come to an understanding to figure out what it is that you want to do. So number one is that self-reflections and understanding. Okay. Number two, open and honest communication. All right. So you have to have open and honest conversations with your family about your dating preferences and your intentions. If you are of a particular culture, or if you are looking at joining a particular culture that's different than yours, you know, your family background may be Muslim, but you are a believer in Jesus Christ. So you may not want to marry a Muslim. You may want to marry a Christian, right? And so you like those familial expectations are going to have to be spelled out for your family. They may disagree with it. They may disown you and things of that nature. But if you are strong and sure in your own convictions about that, and you have the leading of the Lord, you know, as a believer, then sometimes you're just going to have to forego, you know, the thoughts of your family and go with the thoughts of the Lord. Like, you're going to have to do that. You know, the Lord outweighs even your family. So not to say that you can't, weigh what they're saying to you, but they shouldn't outweigh what God is saying to you. Okay. So make sure to clearly express your desires and your boundaries, you know, while also being receptive to their perspectives and their concerns, right? So again, they shouldn't outweigh what God is saying to you, but you should be respectful enough to consider their concerns. So Colossians 4 chapter 6 tells us to let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Meaning, Be patient and understanding with those you have to communicate with, okay? Depending on your culture, I'm pretty sure this could probably be an uncomfortable conversation if you decide to go against the norm of the family expectations. But, at the end of the day, it's your life. It's your life with the Lord, and you have to navigate it the way that the Lord intends for you to. And so if it goes against the cultural expectations, yes, like I said, you will probably have opposition. But if you are at peace with yourself and you are at peace with what the Lord is telling you to do, then that's all that matters. And it may be a little rough and it may be a little hard in the beginning, but probably, once you get married and they see how in love you are and how much joy you have being with your spouse and how he protects you and provides for you and treats you, they may come around. But at the end of the day, you have to go with God and you have to trust his leading when it comes to your relationships, okay? So number 3, in regards to family and cultural expectations and how to navigate them, educate your family. Number 3 is educate your family. If there are any cultural or generational gaps in understanding, take the opportunity to educate them about the modern dating norms or the importance of personal suitability and emotional connection in relationships. They may not understand that depending upon the culture. Help them to understand your perspective and the choices that you're making. Because a lot of times when it comes to cultural expectations, it's just, this is how it's always been. This is how it's going to always be. From, previous generations, from 100 generations on down to us, this is how it's always been. So this is what we want you to do. And it's like, well, no, that's not me. And that's not what I want to do. And I'm my own person. So, you'll have to help them to understand your perspective and the different choices that you're making. And then if you're of a culture that has really strict expectations for relationships and you're going against them, then education will, I'm pretty sure, be really invaluable to them. Give them your why and help them understand why this route that you're taking is best for you. Okay, so Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7 says that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding, right? So wisdom would say not to be frustrated at having to provide the education that your family needs to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. But be wise in how you educate them, okay? So that you're not discounting how they feel about the situation. And again, if they don't accept it, it won't be for your lack of trying, so you can be at peace with that. Like, hey, I gave them verbatim X, Y, and Z from beginning to end, why I'm doing this, and they still don't agree with me. Then you can still say, but Lord, I'm at peace because this is what I know I'm supposed to be doing. I have my faith and my trust in you that you will, change the situation around if they don't agree. But at the end of the day, I have to move where you move, right? So make sure you educate your family as much as you can. Number 4 in navigating family and cultural expectations is to seek supportive allies. I think that even in super restrictive family lines, I'm pretty sure there's probably that one good aunt or uncle or cousin, that will understand where you're coming from. So identify family members or even friends who are open-minded and supportive of your choices. That's very important. If you feel like everybody is going against you, then you're liable to make a wrong decision or a decision that's not good for you and just go with the flow when you want to go against the grain, right? So you want to engage in conversations, with those family members or friends that are supportive of you and supportive of your choices. Engage in conversations with them about your dating experiences, and then seek their advice and their guidance to kind of help you along. Their support, I believe, would really help you to navigate challenging conversations with other family members who may be just completely against what it is that you're doing. When you have other people in your corner, you are able to kind of ease that stress. Because navigating cultural waters, like, that could be a sticky thing. So, having other people to talk to can ease your stress about what you're feeling. And then, they can help you navigate how to get through the uncomfortable conversations that you may have to have. Then you'll also have people that you can bounce things off of that will help you figure out the right thing for you. And they'll help you figure out if you're actually thinking clearly when pursuing someone of a different culture other than yours, so you want to make sure you just kind of have that support system around you. And so Proverbs 17 verse 17 says, a friend loves at all times and a brother is born for adversity. So you may be experiencing this adverse situation. If you decide to go with another culture outside of your own culture, you may experience some adversity, but having a community around you, having the friends around you that will love you at all times, having those extra family members that understand where you're coming from around you, they can help you get through those adverse circumstances and situations. All right. So seek supportive allies. Number five of the family and cultural expectations and how to navigate them is set and maintain boundaries. Set and maintain boundaries. So sometimes you may have to establish clear boundaries with your family regarding their involvement in your dating life. I know some cultures, like, you can't date without your parents going with you. Like your dates are your parents and you and his parents and him, right? Is that something that you are willing to deal with if you are going to engage with someone of that culture? So do you want your entire family involved in your dating life? So if you don't, then you will need to communicate your need for autonomy and decision making, again, while also respecting their opinions and concerns. So some family members are like, are you dating? 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 If that gets annoying and bothersome to you, you might need to be like, you know what? I appreciate the fact that you want me to get into a relationship. However, consistently asking me that is really not helpful to my well-being. So I will let you know when I'm in a relationship. If I have not let you know that I'm in a relationship, then I'm more than likely not in one. And I would appreciate it if you could respect that. Right? So you just set a boundary. What was the boundary? Stop asking me every time you see me, am I in a relationship? Right? So you can be firm in upholding your boundaries. Okay. Make sure you be firm in upholding them, and then assert your independence when necessary. So like I just gave in that example, you set that boundary and then you're assertive in making sure that that boundary is not crossed. So then the next time the person comes to you and says, are you in a relationship? You could be like, well, remember I told you when I'm in a relationship, I will let you know, but you don't have to keep asking me. Thank you. Right? So now you've asserted yourself to make sure that that boundary sticks. Okay. So there are some family cultures that are heavily involved in the adult's dating life. And if you are in one of these cultures, but you have a desire to do your own thing, then you may have to put some boundaries in place to protect your space and to protect your peace so that you can date and pursue relationships the way that you want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know with family and cultural expectations, they'll say that something is wrong with that, but you are your own individual person. So it's your decision if you want to go along with your familiar traditions, and it's your decision if you do not. So when setting your boundaries with your family, make sure you are soft with your delivery. Okay. They're your family, your friends. Make sure you're soft with it. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 1 says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So you don't want to stir up anger. I mean, emotions will probably already be high when you tell them you're not going to do dating the way that they want you to, or that you're not going to do dating the way that the culture says you should. tensions will probably already be high. So you yelling, trying to plead your case is not going to do it. You have to be soft, and you have to be strong, and you have to be firm, but respectful in setting and maintaining those boundaries when explaining to them why you are doing the things that you're doing when it comes to dating. Okay. So just keep those things in mind. And then number 6 is to focus on shared values. Focused on shared values. So with this one, you should emphasize the importance of shared values and your suitability in relationships when discussing your choices with your family. I believe you should be able to highlight that your decision to pursue or not to pursue a particular relationship is based on factors beyond the cultural expectations, such as emotional connection, shared goals, and mutual respect. So what do I mean by that? Some families may expect you to choose someone based on the culture, even though your heart may be with someone else of another background. So you would have to highlight the fact that your decision to not pursue someone of your cultural background is because of X, Y, and Z, right? So you're like, hey, with this particular person, they make me feel this way. We click in this way. We're suitable for each other in this way, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can actually explain to your family why you're choosing somebody that is not of your particular culture. You could explain that to them. You could explain what the connection with that person is and what it means to you. You could do things like let them see you and that person together and how you make them googly eyes at one another, right? I think it's important that your family can see how this person treats you, how they make you feel, even though you may not be of the same culture. And I'm of the mind that, how can you negate that? Like, if your family is of a different culture and they're in a strict culture, but they really see how this person of a different culture is treating you, if they love you as their child like they should, then they should be supportive of your decision. Now, they can tell you whether or not they agree with your decision, but they should still be able to say, you know what, I love you and you're making this decision. So, okay, okay, this is what you want to do. All right. And just leave it at that, right? Colossians chapter 3, verse 14 says, and above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. So I believe that when love can be seen, then opinions can change. Thought processes can change. And those of a different culture can be a little bit more open to having a separate culture be a part of their family. But again, it's all in the way that you do it. You have to do it in a wise way. Okay. So number 7 on navigating family and cultural expectations would be to seek cultural sensitivity. Okay. Seek cultural sensitivity. So with this one, while how do I want to put it? While asserting your individuality, try to maintain a level of cultural sensitivity and respect to your family's traditions and beliefs, okay? You never want to disrespect them. So always acknowledge the significance of their perspectives, even if they differ from your own, and then try to seek common ground where possible. I know that may be a little bit difficult, but if there is somewhere in there, even if you did a little compromise, like, okay, no, I'm not going to fully dive into being matchmaked, but what I will do is allow you to introduce me to some people that you know. right? Because matchmaking is like you're going out to a matchmaker and they are showing you pictures and giving you profiles of people that you don't know. Well, you could tell the family, instead of doing that, I will be open to you introducing me to people that you do know, right? So that's kind of like a little bit of a common ground. It's still a layer of matchmaking, but it's not people that you don't know. It's people that you do know, but you may not have thought of them in that way, or, you may not have gotten a lot of interaction with them in different settings, but your parents have, right? So seek to try to find common ground. I know it could probably be a hard thing to go against your family's traditions when it comes to relationships. So you have to be sensitive to how your family may feel about you turning away from the traditions, because they may feel like you are turning away from them. And you will have to explain to them that, no, I love you. I'm not turning away from you, but I'm turning away from the traditions of our culture, right? Because they may end up feeling a bit shunned, or they may feel like you're not grateful for your culture, or that you're not thankful for how you grew up. And I know that that's not the case, right? But it's just in regards to relationships and dating, you may want to take a different approach. So it's your responsibility to make sure that they understand that you're not shunning them and that you're not grateful, but that you have your own thoughts and opinions. So always make sure to maintain respect and honor in these types of familial situations if you have family that's deep in the culture and you're pulling away from that. And so Exodus chapter 20 verse 12 says, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land and that the Lord your God is giving you. So you want to make sure that if you want to live long on this earth while we still here, okay, make sure you are honoring your family, all right? And still honor the traditions, even though you may not be fully partaking in them. You can still honor them by not making other people of your culture feel bad for still continuing them. So if you are of a matchmaking culture and you don't want to be matchmaked, don't shun or make fun of your friend who is still heavily in the culture and who wants to be matchmaked. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to go, oh my gosh, you're doing that? That's so awesome. Let me know how your dates go. I want to hear all about it. Like, encourage them the same way that you want to be encouraged in what it is that you're doing, moving outside of the culture, right? Okay. So then the last one, number 8 in navigating family and cultural expectations, is building a supportive network. And so this is almost like the other one where we talked about surrounding yourself with good family and friends. So building a supportive network is surrounding yourself with friends, mentors, church groups, or anyone else, who understands your journey, and they can also provide guidance and encouragement. So this is outside of just, that supportive family member. Connect with other single women who are navigating these similar challenges, right? So if you are in these cultural waters, there are a lot of other women out there and a lot of Christian women out there who are probably going through the same thing, right? So try to find, singles groups and things of that nature of other women who are navigating these cultural waters, and see what insights they can provide for you, and what kind of emotional support they can give you, because you are not meant to do life alone. We're not. And so we're all going to be in different situations and in different circumstances and from different backgrounds. And so you want to make sure that you are doing life with other people and being around other people who are kind of navigating the same things you are, and even be around people who did navigate what you are going through and they're successful successful, so a successful marriage of a couple who are from two different cultures, and see how they did it and gain their wisdom and insight from that, and then make sure you have people around you that can support you and help you through any difficult situations that you may experience with someone from a different culture. Be around people that can uplift you, that can make you laugh, that'll cry with you. There's a lot. I know that pulling away from your culture can be a really emotional thing. So make sure you are not by yourself during this time. Okay. You got this. So 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11 says, therefore encourage one another and build one another up just as you are doing. So the same way that if you get into a group where people are experiencing this same thing, the same way you want people to encourage you, you do the same. And watch and see how you grow and how they grow and how your relationships grow. And then as you continue to treat your family with respect and honor as you're navigating these waters, I think that the situation would really change in your favor. So navigating family and cultural situations, in dating especially, is a personal journey, and I don't think there's any one size fits all approach. Your situation is unique. So finding that balance between honoring your own desires and then respecting your family's expectations will definitely require patience. It will require understanding. It's going to require open communication, so in all things, like I will always say, let the Lord lead and guide you, but also show up authentically and stay true to who you are. Make sure you're trusting your judgment and making sure that the Lord is confirming your judgment. And then know that you'll always be safe in God. As long as you are consistently talking to Him and having Holy Spirit, to lead you and guide you in this situation, I think that you will definitely be successful. And so I pray that this encouraged you today and you got something on how to navigate family and cultural expectations. Family is a beautiful thing, so let's make sure that we keep a hold to the ones that we got. Amen. So thank you for listening to the Confessions of a Christian Single Woman podcast. Remember, ladies, that God loves you immensely. There are no bounds or restrictions to His love. Always seek His face, hear His voice, and live His word out loud. If you have any questions that you would like to hear addressed on this podcast, you can email diary@confessionsofaChristianSingleWoman.com, and you can also follow me at the Confessions of a Christian Single Woman Facebook page and DM me there. And then also please join the private Confessions of a Christian Single Woman community to continue this discussion on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We meet live in the private community, so I will be able to see your face, you will be able to see my face, and we will chat about the episode and get a chance to encourage one another, because this is our community that we're building just for us. And so I hope I get a chance to meet you and see you in there. So until next time, may the peace of the Lord go with you this week.